So the saying goes, right? Everybody in hockey has at least some connection to Hersheyers come through, John. Anything that you can relate to? I mean, I know you don't have a lot of steeped in tradition with the Bears, but they've been out there. And just AHL hockey in general. You worked in Providence and, that feeder system to the NHL. It's been so important for so long.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I've come across a lot of people who've gone through there. Bruce Boudreau. I'm good friends with Ray Bork. Chris had a real nice run in Hershey. Also, non-hockey, my son played college golf at IUP in Indiana, Pennsylvania, and they had their conference championship there his first 4 years. I think they moved it after that recently. I went to Hershey 4 years in a row, 4 chilly, Octobers in a row to watch them, and they won 3 conference championships. So good vibes for me when I go to Hershey. But yeah, obviously, storied tradition, great barn, amazing tradition. Who knows? And maybe Ryan Leonard, the new draft pick from the Capitals. You don't know how things are going to go. He might strike it up, quickly and have a nice career. But maybe he needs some time for seasoning. You never know. So he could be the latest to come through there and experience, really, just, again, we talk about the Frozen Four, I talk about youth hockey, the NHL. Hershey is their own little flavor, and with chocolate you can smell it, and so it's a special place, a unique place for sure in the wide world of hockey.
Well, if you get a chance, ride the Comet, the old wooden coaster. So you get a chance to do that at some point. But you touched on Ryan Leonard and that transition from, straight from BC to the NHL. He won't be the first one to do that. And if he happened to land in Hershey, he wouldn't be the first round pick that would need seasoning there. But they've been high on the guy for a while. They've waited. They've been on Ryan Leonard watch, really watching Boston College to see how far they went. And it didn't take him long. A couple nights later, he's in Boston making his debut for the Caps. So, your thoughts on that transition and maybe specifically to Ryan Leonard, how do you think he might be able to handle it?
I think it'll be a little, I don't say rocky, but I don't think he's just going to burst on the scene right away. His role was different with Boston College. He had to sometimes sniff for breakaways and try to they relied on him so much for offense. Had the puck a lot on the power play. Obviously, he's not going to be in the first unit right away on the power play, especially if it's going good. So it might be a little, that's a veteran team and a really good team that kind of has all their roles defined. But there's definitely a slot there for him if he can figure it out. Great kid, born to do it, explosive speed. We see the burst, we see the shooting. A little bit of physical contact. Not a huge guy, 6 feet 200. I mean, Alex Ovechkin's 3 inches taller and about 50 pounds heavier. Like, there's a big difference. Tom Wilson's a big man. I see Ryan Leonard as more almost like a little pest kind of a guy. He's bigger than Brad Marchand and guys like that, Brendan Gallagher. But I think that role right there is going to be kind of a, like one of those little middleweights, Jerome McGinley. Once he gets going, he's going to find his way. And it could be quick. I could be wrong. But, there's a chance that he may need a little pro hockey seasoning.
And then last thing I wanted to ask you about is, the Caps have a couple of two-time Calder Cup champs with the Bears that have moved up. And Spencer Carbery was in Hershey and Scott Allen, his assistant coach. These guys that get that championship taste at a lower level, how much do you think that helps an NHL team and just in hockey in general to be able to win it all, to go through the sacrifice it takes to hoist any cup?
I think it's huge. Obviously, Jared Bednar is the latest story. He won in the ECHL, the AHL, and then the NHL with Colorado. We see a few coaches who just kind of went. John Cooper just kind of won everywhere. That's not an accident. There's a reason why this stuff happens. And I am so impressed with Spencer Carbery. One of the cool things about ESPN when we go do the games, we get 5 minutes by ourselves, 5 to 10 minutes by ourselves with the coaches. They tend to be very candid. They trust us to really give us a good foundation of what's going on. And bam, I met him in Pittsburgh last year, 2 Januaries ago, Capital Penguin game, and I was just blown away by his energy, his personality, his presence. He really has it. He has it. I was warned about it from a friend of mine, Reed Cashman, who coaches at Dartmouth and knows him well. And he goes, watch out. This was before he was hired or just as he was getting hired. He goes, watch out for this thing. This guy is a star. And so, and truly, I was, like I said, and I met him and I was bullish on the Caps this year before the season because of him. And he's a superstar coach. He'll be around for 15 years. John Cooper level of people skills.
Yeah, awesome. John, thanks so much. I really appreciate the time.